Hello guys, and welcome to Dolphin, a complete guide. Today I'm going to be showing you every single essential part of, basically how to TAS and how to use Dolphin. First step, go to dolphin-emulator.com, go to the Downloads tab, and try to download the latest version of Dolphin. There is an update every 3 days or so, try to download the latest version. So depending on what type of computer you have, either download the 32-bit, 64-bit for Windows or the Mac download. I found that sometimes the 64-bit download will not work, and I don't quite understand why, so I would prefer downloading the 32-bit. Even if you have a 64-bit, it will work with the 32-bit. So once the file downloads, open it up, and then extract these all to the desktop. Alright, I'm going to have some downloads for torrents for the ISOs in the description below. So, yeah, one really great site is weiso.com, and then once you go here, go to torrents. Actually, no. Main site, on the side it'll say PAL Euro Wii ISO Games. Go there, and then right towards the top will be Mario Kart PAL torrent. Click on that, and then click the download, and then it'll load it. It's a really great torrent at the time of this video upload. It might get worse over time, I don't know. But you can download it. It's a very fast download, but it will take several hours, most likely. So you'll have to wait that out overnight, or just wait it out through the day. Alright, let's open up the folder. And then sometimes when you load it, it will give you an error, except on this occasion it does not. So if you're trying to open it and it says it's missing a file, or sometimes you'll open it and it'll say it's missing a different type of file, just Google search vconf100.dll, go to the first result, dll-files.com, and click download zip file. Extract this to the Dolphin emulator folder right at the root of it. Don't put in any subfolders. And then Google search xinput1_3.dll. First result again, and click download zip file. Open it up, and then extract this to the Dolphin emulator folder, the root of it once again. Alright, let's check out the default graphics, because I don't know what it's automatically set to. Okay, back end should be DirectX 3D9 default. Keep it as that because that's the fastest one. Even though it says OpenGL renders the textures more than the graphics, it doesn't really make a difference at the end when you're going to record the video, which will be at the very end of this entire walkthrough. So adapter, you might have more than one, but if you only have one, you obviously have to select that. If you have two, try playing the game with one adapter and then try the other. And then display, set it to your regular desktop resolution. This will only affect it if you do click the full screen button right here. Of course, it's not enabled because I don't have any games down here, or I don't have one open. So ignore that for now. Aspect ratio, it should be auto, but you can stretch it to window. It doesn't slow it down at all and makes it look better because it doesn't have black lines. Enhancements, make sure the internal resolution is set to 1x native. Otherwise, as you can see, the 4x native is 2560 by 2112. It's a very, very high quality display, and it's really, really slow. Although I do use that when I render the video because it makes the quality look much, much better, but it does take a while, so I would not prefer TASing with that on. Enable this checked, keep all these unchecked, keep this 1x and none. Hacks, this has nothing to do with gecko codes. Keep it all the way it is, really. Texture cache, if you wanna, you just wanna keep it to fast, it really doesn't affect it at all. Advanced, make sure none of this is enabled for right now. I'll show you what some of this does later in the video though, so, that's graphics. Next we are going to emulate our controls. So I like to start off by saying it is highly, highly preferred that you emulate the GameCube controller, aka GC pad. because Wii Remote, whether it's the Wii Wheel or even with the nunchuck, tilting, it's very slow on Dolphin, and I can't really explain why. So if you're in a course where it's really bumpy, I don't know, such as DK Stumble with all those bumps, or if you're trying to do Mushroom Gorge Glitch, and you really need to get a good tilt around the mountain, it's really hard to tilt really fast, or for that matter, it's impossible to tilt really fast. So for that reason, I do not prefer to emulate the Wii Remote. Although I would keep it on default, enable the Wii Remote, because if you want to use TAS Code, which will come in handy later in this tutorial for copying your ghost and working on a particular part of the track, make sure it's on keyboard mouse, click default. That way you can have all these controls set to normal, and the TAS Code will work in the future. So let's go over to GC pad. Most people will emulate the keyboard and the mouse, but I use a USB gamepad. Oh, that's right, this is a new version, I forgot. But yeah, USB gamepad is pretty much a PC gaming controller. It's very similar to a GameCube controller, except it plugs in by a USB cord to my computer. This may also work with a PS2 or a PS3 controller, because I've heard some people say the charger is actually a USB cable. If you plug that into your computer, I believe it does work, and I've had people tell me it does work. So you could try that out. I do not know about Xbox controllers. I don't have a charger for mine because it's battery powered, so I would not know. But yeah, so if you're gonna emulate keyboard mouse, make sure your A button is not the same as the one in your Wii Remote. Otherwise, if you're trying to enable TAS Code, it may be a little bit weird, because as you're pausing to deactivate, you'd really be unpausing from the game, or from the pause menu, and it would be really weird. So I'll show you what it's like for the USB gamepad. So A is this button. You just click on it, and then you press the corresponding button on the controller. So B would be this, X would be this, Y would be this. I don't have a rear view mirror because I have a separate button for the side trick, because I don't have a D-pad. We'll do start. Main stick is just, tilting and turning left and right. Deactivate all the modifiers by clicking the scroll button on the mouse. And then C stick, you don't need this. It has no purpose in Mario Kart Wii. Left button is using a shroom, or an item for that matter. Right button is drift. Same with B button if you wanted to do that instead. And then the D-pad is the tricks. So this is my down trick, this is my up trick. And then I don't have a left trick. I prefer doing a right trick most of the time. And then you can click if you want to change controls over time. Let's say default 1, I guess, and click save. And then you can click the drop down arrow and it'll say default 1. So if you reset the default, you can just use that profile and do load, and then it'll load it back up. So that's controls. Next, I'm going to show you guys how to enable gecko codes. First thing you're going to want to do, click configure, and then click enable cheats. So once you do that, you're going to want to go all the way over to paths and click add, and locate the folder that all of your ROMs or your games are in. Click OK. Next, you're going to want to right-click on the game that you want to use gecko codes on, click Properties, click the Gecko Codes tab, and click Download Codes from the database. It will add about 186 codes. Let me just see if, hold on. I do not believe I have it. Nope, I don't have it. In the description, I'm going to have lists of the different TAS codes for the different regions. So, let me find the txt file. I think it's in documents. Hold on. Yeah, TAS codes. And then since this is a PAL ISO, I'm going to use the PAL code. I'm going to right click it. In Dolphin, I'm going to click Edit Configure. Under Gecko, I'm going to do Enter, Cache Symbol, TAS Code. I'm going to press Enter, and I'm going to copy and paste the code. I'm going to click Save, and I'm going to exit out. Next, we're going to enable some codes. First off, you're going to have to use the U button on your keyboard to enable Ultimate License Unlocker. Pressing the U button will automatically take it down to the first code that begins with U, which happens to be Ultimate License Unlocker. Enable that. That's going to be the first one that we're going to enable, because for some reason it only works if it's by itself. If you enable other codes with it, it doesn't seem to work. So I already created a license that had nothing on it, and after you do that, you should come back to the screen and it should be completely gold. So next you're gonna want to keep that enabled. If you take it off, it will go away for some reason. I don't understand why. So if you did the edit configure correctly, TAS Code should be the first result. Check that off, and then press the U button again and go down to Ultimate License Unlocker. Do not uncheck it, but you'll notice above it is Speedometer Time Trials and Speedometer Online. Now obviously you cannot TAS on Wi-Fi because you can't hook it up to Wi-Fi, but that's not why I'm mentioning it. Speedometer Time Trials will only keep track of your own speed if you're in solo time trials, as opposed to when you're racing the Ghost, it will actually keep track of the Ghost's speed, not your own. Speedometer Online will keep track of your own speed if you're racing a Ghost, but it does not seem to work in solo time trials, and I'm not sure why. Enabling the codes may work, but then again, if you're using Speedometer Online to keep track of your own speed when racing a Ghost, but you also use time trials, I don't know how that would work, because it would be registering to keep track of the Ghost speed and your own. So somebody could experiment with that if you want to, and post down the results in the comments, I guess. But I would just prefer to enable Speedometer Online since you're going to be racing your Ghost most of the time. One last thing before we start, we want to go back into the Gecko codes. Click Edit Configure and delete as many codes that you don't need, because that's really just taking up space in the GCT, and it's also causing Ultimate License Unlocker not to work for me. So let's try to scroll down until we see Ultimate License Unlocker. Yep, right here. So I don't need Speedometer Time Trials either, so I'll delete this entire thing. So now we're Gecko Codes, TAS Code, Speedometer Online, Ultimate License Unlocker, and then everything below that we can just delete it all to save some room. Once we get all the way down there, just delete it all, so all you have are 3 codes, the essential codes that you need. If there's other codes you want to include, go ahead, you can put them there. This is the final step before we begin using save states and TASing. So I told you to put TAS code at the very beginning, but that's actually not correct. Because we have Ultimate License Unlocker at the very bottom, for some reason it's actually causing Ultimate License Unlocker to not load. So you're going to want to click copy, delete that all, and then under Gecko create a new line and paste it back in. So now that we have Ultimate License Unlocker coming first, that way Ultimate Unlicensed Unlocker is loaded first, so we get that code to work, and the following codes will work as well. What was happening before was that we had Ultimate License Unlocker to work, so we did have everything unlocked. But then as we activated the 2 other codes, Ultimate License Unlocker for some reason disabled itself and canceled out all of the gold trophies that we got. So that doesn't really make any sense. So it seems you'd have to keep Ultimate License Unlocker enabled the entire time that you load your game. We are now going to begin using save states. So first off, I'm going to show you how to change the controls for loading and saving save states. You're going to go into Options, press Hotkey Settings, and click the Save States tab. So basically, save states are checkpoints that you can save and load inside any game in Dolphin. So for example, let's say Toad's Factory, if you get a good starting boost, you can save state right after the beginning of the finish line by pressing Shift F1, and then as you near the first turn, you can press Shift F2 for a different save state. if you maybe hit the wall, you're too close to the wall, you can't get a good turn, you can press F1 without the shift button, and then you can replay the first save state. So there's 8 save state slots. To save one, you press the shift button and any of the 1 through 8 F keys. So if you want to save a state, you can press F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6, F7, or F8. And then loading each state is just the same, but without the shift key. So each slot is its own save state. You could have one spot of the course on the first save state, another spot on the course on the second save state, and you can keep going back and forth, resaving in case one part is bad, another part is okay, but it's not too good, if you know what I mean. So if you're doing keyboard, it's going to be extremely hard to do save states because of your hand positioning and such. So you might want to switch your Wii remote keys to the WASD keys to, you know, kind of turn and tilt. And you could make loading states, instead of the F keys, you can make it the number keys. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 maybe. So you could do shift 1, 2, 3, 4. And while you have your hands on the WASD keys, that would be pretty easy. But since I have a USB gamepad, I keep it default because it's really easy for me. Now I'm going to show you guys how to utilize save states to get a really great TAS. So we're going to start off, just load your license and pick a random course if you want to. Make sure you pick a great character for a course. And for example, make sure you pick manual. I will do... Let's do let's do Grumble Volcano. So let's do solo time trials. Note, speedometer online will not work. But for example, I'll show you how to. I'll demonstrate how speedometer online works. So you're gonna click configure. Make sure the frame limit, you set it down to 20 or something, so that it slows the game down. You don't want to be TASing at regular game speed. And as you can see, you might be experiencing this too. My TAS code actually automatically activated itself. And I mean, as you can see, it's the same exact driving techniques as Dry Bowser. What you're going to do to activate / deactivate it is, for the activator, you're going to press the Y button on the GameCube controller and the A button on the Wii remote. This is why I said to make sure your Wii remote is still enabled. So as you can see, the cursor is still there, that means it's on. You're going to press the Y button and the A button at the same time several times. So you're going to press A, or Y and A. I usually do about 10. Now, because Dolphin is really stupid, you actually have to do a save state, so shift F1, and you have to load that save state twice. Otherwise, it doesn't seem to work. That makes it enabled, and then to disable it, you're going to press the Y button on the GameCube controller and A and B on the Wii remote controller. So we'll do that about 10 times. Save another save state, load it twice. As you can see, I am now deactivated from that ghost. So I can drive however I want. So let's say, for example, oh, I missed my wheelie. So what I'll do is I'll reload that save state by pressing the F1 button, turn to the left, and I will start doing a spin drift. And then I'll press it again, good turn, I'll do another save state to slot 2. Maybe I decide that isn't that great, so I want to redo the first save state. I'll reload it. I'll do it several times. I'll make sure I get that wheelie. Another convenient thing about my USB gamepad is I have a turbo feature to cheat my way out of luck wheelies and such. So I'll wheelie. I'll save state that. I think that's good. I'll do a turn. And as you can see, since I'm racing the ghost, if I slow down all the way, the speedometer goes with me. It's not keeping track of the ghost. That's a good thing because I thought I went into the dirt, but actually it didn't slow me down at all. So I'll try to position myself for a low jump without losing any speed while turning. I'll save state before the ramp, and I'll hop. As you can see, I'm not in a really great position, so I'm going to reposition myself. I made another save state so I can redo from earlier on. And I'm going to reload it several times and get the load up. Alright, first off, we are going to reload up our ISO. Alright, once we do that, let's get back to our first save state slot. So we are right here. I'll TAS it right up to this ramp here. Actually, I'll do it up to the rock. I'll show you doing the right rock hop with frame by frame and TAS input. So, oh, I accidentally had my acceleration rapid fire, so I didn't have full speed. So now that we have that, now what we're gonna do, we're gonna pause our game. As you can see, it's frozen. And we are going to click Options, Hotkey Settings. In the General tab, there's a Frame Advance option. I prefer to use the 1 button, so now in the game, I can use the 1 button to go 1 frame at a time. Load a state, I can go back to it. Let's say I want to turn right around here. Now also, another key thing to this is going to emulation TAS input. So this really shows you, if you do frame by frame, it shows you which controls you're doing. I might actually make this first time, that will be incredible. Nah. But also, you can manually do this, so for example, I'll reload the save state because I think I lost a little bit of speed. So I'll press the drift button. It's either R or B. I prefer to use R. So I do a small hop up. I'll start turning. And then I will press the left button. 1 frame of shrooming. And I'll deactivate. And as you can see, I shroom. Now, what I have to do, let's try undoing the right button. Redo the right button, and then we'll do a spin drift to the left. Maybe that was a little too much. Let's not go all the way to the right, or to the left. We save state. That's still a little too much. So once we get to here, start to turn in more. Alright guys, finally I'm going to show you guys how to record your TASes with Dolphin. So if you might be thinking of using Fraps or some other screen recording program, but honestly that's not going to give the best quality. Step 1, we're going to want to go into Graphics, go into Enhancements, click the internal resolution, make that 4 times native. Go to Advanced and click Dump Frames. So this will basically take the entire emulation screen and just turn it into a video file. It's a very big video file, so make sure you have a lot of space available. 15 seconds is about 2 gigabytes, almost, so make sure you have around, you know, say 20 gigabytes of space or something, and then you can render it and shrink it down, but that's basically it. So after you do this, let's go to full screen. Now, compressor, obviously, full frames is going to give you the biggest file size, but it is going to be the best quality. I honestly prefer to use full frames, but you could use Microsoft Video 1 is a pretty good compressor, so either do that or do full frames. Click OK. let's load our first save state, I guess. This should be after the right side rock hop, or actually at the end of the lap. So as you can probably tell, the screen quality is much better, and also, yeah, let's just take that about 5 seconds. And also notice the frame rate is actually 5 frames per second. It slows it down a ton. So let's go into Dolphin emulator. The output video file is going to be in the folder that you have your Dolphin emulator in. It's going to be under users, dump, frames. And it's going to be frame dump 0, and it'll keep going up from 0 to whatever you have. So, oh, I also forgot, make sure you close out a Dolphin before you try to use the file. And yeah, it's about 5 seconds, and it was 294 megabytes. Alright, also, if you guys want to record audio, I would recommend disabling your high quality, going back to 1x native, and deactivate dump frames. And then I'd also recommend to slow the frame rate down to 55. If you keep it at 60, the sound might actually go a little bit too fast. So click DSP, go to the audio tab, it should automatically be that. And then click on dump audio. Often, if you're using this and it doesn't record the audio properly, then I'm sorry, I can't really understand like why that happens. So it's just bad luck, really. Try getting a different version; it'll often work if you try different versions. So once we're done with that, it'll pop into, as you can see, it created a new folder. It's going to be user dump audio, and it'll be audio dump. And it's always going to be one file, and as you can see, 1.34 megabytes. It's not really going to be that big of a file. If you guys have any further questions that I have not answered in this video, please post them in the comment section below. Also check out the description for a frequently asked questions section, where you can look to see if any of your questions you may have been answered. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you guys later.